So have you ever thought that maybe what your homeschool needed was a little bit more character training? Maybe a virtues class, perhaps? Because you see the lack of character and virtue in your kids as you homeschool. Let's talk about how to do that. How to have character training in our homeschools without a curriculum. G.K. Chesterton once said, "I had always felt life first as a story, and if there is a story, then there is a storyteller." Yes, life is a story. It's a story that God is telling for His own purposes and for His own glory. And every story, we know, has characters. When we see character training in light of being a character in a story, we understand better how to tackle the trouble of character training. I'm Misty Winkler, and this is the Simply Convivial podcast. I'm a homeschooling mom who writes and podcasts about homeschooling, homemaking, and doing life cheerfully. I'm also the author of the brand new book, The Convivial Homeschool: Gospel Encouragement for Keeping Your Sanity While Living and Learning Alongside Your Kids. Now, let's dig in to character training. Each of us are characters. Especially in homeschooling circles, we tend to speak of character as something that we create. It's something that we must form. We seek out curriculums and programs because character is something that we want our children to have. But here's the reality. They already do have a character, and so do you. We all actually are characters. It's not a question of whether or not our children or ourselves will have character. It's only a question of what kind of character we will be in the story we are in. Character, according to the dictionary, is 1, noun, the mental and moral qualities distinctive to an individual. That is, what is characteristic of a particular person. 2, noun, a person in a novel, play, or movie. That is a person in a story, which is all of us. And 3, noun, a printed or written letter or symbol. That is, there's no other applicable definition of the word character. So when we use character building in terms of curriculum or concerns or critiques, we're using it in this first sense of the word. We want to direct, to shape, to change the qualities that are distinctive to our children. Perhaps we see that whining is distinctive in their communication style. Perhaps we notice a tendency to deceive or to get angry or to be rude. Perhaps we simply do not see what we had hoped to see: more love, more kindness, more self-control. So we see their character as something that we must plan for, lay plots, and start programs to get the change that we want out of them. We think that we need a character building curriculum, but it's a different kind of plot that we need to see. We need to see that it's not our plot at all. The plot, the storyline, is being laid by God, and we are not the storytellers. We're only another character in their story. We're not outside the story, directing and controlling and shaping our vision. We're inside their story, playing the part of a coach, a guide, a sidekick, and sometimes it might seem like a villain. Will we be a character worth imitating? Will we be a character that attracts our children or repels them? Will we be a character that seeks God's way or our own each morning? Character building is sanctification. The hard truth is that it's easy to see what other people should do to grow, but it's hard to actually do what we know that we must do to grow. Yet it's our own sanctification that God tells us to work out. Though we are here to help others as homeschooling moms, but we are not the ones making another person's sanctification happen. We cannot force our children into character molds. We should rather coach them along the way. Each one of us are becoming more and more something each day. Prune the bad somethings Water the good somethings. Be patient because seeds don't sprout overnight. And plants spend a long time growing before they put out fruit. That is character building. And it is happening every day. Character isn't something that any of us lack. Character refers to what we are, who we are. Every task, every day is an opportunity to choose who we will become. Will we become more obedient, more faithful to our callings? Will we rely on Christ and live in peaceful dependence, prayerful dependence? Or will we be headstrong in our own way, resolute in our own stubbornness? Will we give in to our feelings and our appetites? These are questions just as much for us as for our children. In fact, even as we shepherd them and coach them in their character building decisions, which is every single decision, we are building our own character. How we respond to them is a character building choice, reinforcing one pattern or another. Let's look less at the outcome that we're hoping to produce in another and remember that every task, every reminder, every interaction is an action being made by and through our character. We are a character in their story. The kind of character that will influence them for good is one who would be more concerned about the tone and the truth of her own heart and mouth than about anyone else's tone or truth. We remove the speck from our own character's eye because it's only when we aren't noticing it that we think it's just a speck. Once removed, we realize that we're the ones with the log that we had entirely overlooked and been blind to. We're not to give up on character building for ourselves or to give up on helping the character growth of others, because we will reap that harvest if we do not give up. So let us do good. Let us sow our own character into the ground. Let us pour ourselves out in watering. Let us trust Christ for the increase in His due season. That's character building. Thank you for watching this episode of the Simply Convivial podcast. It is our character as homeschool moms that makes the biggest difference, and it's our first responsibility, actually. That's why I wrote The Convivial Homeschool, Gospel Encouragement for Keeping Your Sanity While Living and Learning Alongside Your Kids. It's because these lessons that we are teaching our children turn out to be the lessons we ourselves actually need for our own sanctification, for our own character training. And these short chapters each focus our attention and our hearts on applying the truth that we need to our lives as homeschool moms and seeing it not as a result that we have to produce, but as a faithful opportunity for us to glorify God in all we do. In the book, I help you and myself apply the process of repenting and rejoicing and repeating. You can get the book now on Amazon.com in Kindle and paperback form.